Now, we're in James chapter 2, verse 15. Reading from the King James Version, quote, "If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food," unquote. Now, looking at the Greek, let's go ahead and parse this out. If a brother, and the definition of that means anyone within the family of Jesus, that's your brother. So a brother or sister, that's what they're talking about. Or sister, see. B. Now, let's look at B. B is a present tense. It's an active voice. So that means that the doer is the performer of the action. Subjunctive mood, which means that it's the moods of possibility or potentiality. So possible, present, and you, active. Be naked and destitute of daily food. Just as plain as can be. We don't need to go any further than that. Let's look at what John Gill has to say about it. Now, remember, I'm reading from the original of John Gill. It's nothing that's online. This is the original, put in the 1700s. Quote, "If a brother or sister," unquote, "a Christian man or woman, a fellow member of a church of Christ, for this relation is to be understood in a spiritual sense, though it does not exclude such who are in this relation in a natural sense. Quote, be naked," unquote, "or clothed in rags, or in very mean and sordid apparel, such as will neither keep them warm nor clean and decent, for they must not be supposed to be entirely naked, but to be in the very uncomfortable and indecent garb," quote, "and destitute of daily food," unquote, "have not food sufficient for the day, or ought to support nature with, and yield them proper refreshment and nourishment." This ends John Gill's commentary on James 2:15. Now, my own personal side, I have been homeless twice years ago. And I work with the homeless a lot because I understand their predicament. What I couldn't understand when I was homeless, I was raised in the church. And yet my own church turned their back on me and also locked the door on me and gave me no assistance. I had to walk to another church, ask for help, and they told me that I would have to go on the other side of town. Well, I had lost everything. I didn't even have a car. How was I supposed to get there? Well, that's how the churches were set up. So they closed their door. I got no food, no place to use the bathroom, no way to get cleaned up, nothing. And that church was heated with a locked door. And there were homeless people around them needing a place to stay. And today we have people who are homeless because of one paycheck. Took one paycheck, not because they're alcoholics or drug addicts, but because of finances. And I learned, working on the street, that the reason most of the homeless become alcoholics and drug addicts is because it's the only way for them to be able to get a Section 8 housing out of the NSO. The NSO gets paid for them to be there, and they're supposed to help them, but they get paid for every signature they get, but they're supposed to help them, and it takes a very, very long time, and you either have to become an alcoholic or a drug abuser to get to Section 8 housing, and by that time, you're hooked. It's a terrible catch. I learned that last year, working on the street in downtown Detroit. So when you see these homeless people, and they're alcoholics and they're drug addicts, they're trying to get off the street and get housing. As Christians, my own personal thought is we should do what Jackie Pollinger did in Hong Kong in the worst slums and open up the church to house the people and make a difference, at least new converts. That's my own personal opinion. But this one here is saying if they're destitute of daily food, not sufficient for the day, or ought to support nature with, and yield them proper refreshment and nourishment. Are you doing this? This is what we are instructed to do. Thank you for listening to Discovering the Scriptures. May God richly bless you as you learn more about Him and become more Christ-like.